Hi ladies, it's me. Sorry I'm a little bit late. The day has run away with me today, so I apologise. I'm a little bit busy actually until sort of the middle of next week, so I'm going to be a little bit all over the shop. So I'll apologise now if I'm not as responsive. So I hope you're all okay, ladies. Welcome, new ladies. Please watch the welcome video pinned to the top of the page. I wanted to do a really quick Facebook Live today about different options you can access for help, because it's something that comes up quite a lot, and it's one of those funny things that unless you actually know, I don't think you really know. And when you search on the internet, oh my god, that's just insane. I've been doing a bit of research into, you know, other people that do a similar-ish type of thing to me, and my god, there's so much out there, which is sort of a good thing, but then it's like who to listen to, isn't it? Anyway, I'm gonna keep it really simple. I'm going to cover quite a lot of free options because I think that's quite important to people, and they're probably quite old-fashioned and quite simple, but it's important that you know that they're there. And I'm fully aware that I have an international audience and it will be different in each country. So I would love it if you could let us know, whatever country you live in, what options are available to you. That would be really interesting. I might get a post going about that tomorrow, so don't let me forget. So most of my knowledge is about the UK. Some of what I'll talk about is worldwide. So there are options out there. It's not great. It's getting better. And it's one of the reasons why I do what I do, really, is to provide something different, more choice. That's really important to me. So let's start with the obvious one, 12-step. That's the most obvious one. Now, the thing with 12-step is, as I'm sure you're aware, is pretty much everywhere. So it's worldwide, it's universal. And well, unless you live in a really rural area. So for instance, I'm in a city, not a big city. I could go to a 12-step meeting probably twice a day if I wanted to. I would say that's probably the case for most cities. I'm going to say around the world, but I don't know. But I would think it is in most cities. But however, when you get to sort of more rural areas, so I live in quite a rural area as well, where there may only be one 12-step meeting once a week. And then also, that can be really quite difficult for people if you live in a small rural area. It's that thing about people knowing you're in anonymity. In a city, that's a lot easier. But what's good about 12-step? What's good about 12-step is it's free and it's everywhere, and you can just rock up and access a meeting. So but the ethos, the methodology is can be strict. It does depend on what meeting you go to. It really does. So if the 12 steps is something that resonates with you, because you can look it up online, you can get a book, you can do some reading, you can do online meetings, it's huge. So there's a lot of information out there. If it's something that resonates with you and it's something you think might work, I urge you to keep going until you find a meeting that works for you. But it doesn't work for everyone, as you know, and it probably won't work for the bulk of the ladies in this group, as my ethos is quite different to 12 steps. So chances are, if you're in here, you probably aren't 12 step. I know I've got quite a few 12 step ladies, but the majority of you probably aren't, and that's why you're here. Now, there is also, so a few years ago, probably quite a few years ago now, I'm trying to remember, there was an organisation called SMART. Now, there's SMART UK, and there's SMART in America, and there's SMART in Australia. You can look them up online, SMART Recovery. They are there. Now, they do online meetings as well, and you can download their tools, and there will be meetings in some areas. Now, historically, because they're quite new, and it is free, I'm sort of hesitating a bit, but it should be free, very similar to rocking up to a 12-step meeting. So you should be able to go online, search Smart Recovery, and find a meeting in your area. Now, there won't be nowhere near as many as these meetings, so you may not have a Smart Recovery meeting in your area. but you might find the website useful, you might find their tools useful. Now, Smart Recovery is very solution focused, very CBT focused, so if you like that sort of solution focused approach, you're probably going to like that, so it's definitely worth checking out. And also, if you have got a Smart Recovery meeting in your area, it's worth going to have a look. You know, you just don't know, but it's a little bit harder because there aren't so many meetings. And you know, it's so with a 12-step meeting, there's probably lots of them, so if you don't like one, you can go to another meeting, whereas with Smart Recovery there may only be 1 or 2 meetings in your area, even if there is one, so it's not as easy. Now, it's not that I'm recommending these. What I'm doing is I'm talking about ones, ethoses that I'm familiar with, that have been around, that are worth having a look at. If I don't talk about a certain ethos or a certain methodology, it's because I don't know anything about it, so I'm not going to preach about it as such. I hope that makes sense. Now, obviously, for a lot of people, you can go and see your doctor, and that would be across the board in any country. Now, the same with any issue that you may take to your doctor. So specifically in the UK, we have general practitioners, and they're very generalist. They're not specialists anything, or they might have a specialism, but it's unlikely they're going to have a specialism in alcohol. There are very few specialist drug and alcohol treatment GPs in the UK. It is the bane of my life, anybody that's spoken to me about that. I'm trying to find a specialist GP that I can work with when I need one. So you can always go to your doctor, but it is bearing in mind, the same as with a 12-step meeting, the same as with Smart Recovery, it will depend on your doctor's knowledge. But it's always worth a go, you know. And also, the thing with your doctor is your doctor should know, you know, what options are available in your local area, because although we're talking about countries, so the UK and America and Australia, and I know we've got some South African ladies as well, and Portugal, and, you know, Norwegian, Spanish, you know, all over. Again, sort of particularly, this will be the same in America and the UK, you know, when it gets down to counties and states, it will be different again. So this is where your local knowledge comes in, you know, your local knowledge of services. And this is where doctors really should know, you know, if they're not specialists themselves, they should be able to tell you what's available in your area. But just bear in mind, going to see your doctor can be a little bit hit and miss. I love my doctor, she's wonderful, but I go and see her and she'll say, oh, I really don't know with most things that I take to her, but she's a very lovely lady. And then in the UK, in some areas, we have free treatment services. Now, anybody is eligible to access a free treatment service in the UK. And some people think they need to access this for their GP. They do not. You can just access your free treatment service. You should be able to search online. So say, for instance, I lived in Bristol. I would put in Bristol Alcohol Service or Derby Alcohol Service. And hopefully you'll get a few places that come up that you could ring and ask them and say, you know, get some advice, or maybe come and see someone, or they might tell you about smart groups in their area, you know, or what projects they've got happening. So you can bypass your doctor with that. I'm not sure this is the case, whether this is the case in America or Australia. So American ladies and Australian ladies, I would love to know if you have access to free treatment services. Then of course we have rehabs, and these are worldwide. There are pretty much rehabs anywhere. Now, detox and rehab are different. Sometimes you'll go to a detox unit, which will be in a rehab, or sometimes you will just go to a detox unit. Now, the difference is the detox, particularly with alcohol, is that you go to have a medical inpatient detox to help you come off the alcohol because you have a physical addiction to alcohol, and that's the safest way for you to come off alcohol, because obviously the withdrawal can be really dangerous. So it's very hard. So to access this for free in the UK is very difficult. You can pay, but it costs a lot of money, and I'm sure that's the same anywhere else around the world, that you can pay. You can pay for inpatient detox. However, you may not need to have inpatient detox. There are only a few people that need to have that. So I would hope that they would assess whether you're suitable for an inpatient detox rather than just take your money. I've mostly have experience of working with free detox units and free rehabs. So I haven't worked a lot with ones that are more profit driven. So I wouldn't like to say really there. I've heard of some horrendous prices that people have paid for detox, which are just, you know, a 2-week detox. And I'm like, what? Like £10,000 or something. And you're like, no, we might pay 5,000 for a 2 or 3 really good quality inpatient detox. So yeah, that's very hit and miss. Again, there's a common theme here, isn't there, about it being hit and miss pretty much everywhere. So rehab, so there's detox units, so you would access a inpatient detox if you needed to have a medically assisted withdrawal. Now that might be enough, but then some people choose to do the rehab option, and there are a number of different options there, and that will depend on how much money you've got, and I'm sure that is the same all the way around the world. Whether you can do a month or 3 months or 6 months or a year or 18 months, you know, what tends to happen quite a bit in this country is people might do 3 months in a rehab or 6 months, and then they would go into a halfway house with some support. And obviously the aftercare plan is really, really important, and that would be across the board for anyone. So when I'm talking to someone that wants to go and do an inpatient detox and actually they are suitable, then it's what's going to be different when you come out. You know, where are you going to live, what's going to happen with your support, you know, all that type of stuff. So it's worth thinking about that and having someone to talk that through with. So if you I'm always happy to talk that through with anybody if they're not sure, you know, about thinking through what's going to happen afterwards. That is just as important, okay? Because when you do rehab, so inpatient detox, your medically assisted detox is your medical detox, which is slightly different, whereas rehab is more sort of therapeutically based. Now, a lot of rehabs are very 12-step based. So if 12-step isn't your thing, you really need to look for rehabs that have a range of options. So whether that's CBT or SMART, solution focused brief therapy, or just general therapists and counsellors, they are out there, but they're not as easy to find. I was looking for someone the other day, and actually I was looking for a detox unit and for a rehab, and it was actually quite hard to find somewhere where it wasn't all 12-step, because obviously when you're in the rehab you're expected to participate in everything. So if 12-step isn't your thing and you're expected to attend a 12-step meeting every day, that's going to be quite hard for you. So it's about, you know, being really clear about what's going to work for you, you know, visiting places, asking the right questions, you know, thinking through what questions you need to ask, and also thinking about your aftercare plan, you know, what's going to happen afterwards, where are you going to live, what support are you going to access, what's going to be different, what do you need, you know, that type of stuff. Obviously there are a range of books. We have a recommended reading list. Lots and lots of different books with different ethoses, which is great. So there's pretty much something for everyone. And of course we've got quite a lot of books that are very much written by women about their journey, so that can be really useful as well. If you need a coach or a therapist, that can be really useful. You know, take your time to find one that works for you. So any good coach or therapist will offer a free consultation. I know that might be slightly different in the US, because I've spoken to some ladies and they've told me so, but in the UK most good quality coaches and therapists should offer you a free consultation. Now, why should they do that? They need to do that because there needs to be a conversation about, particularly with alcohol, this is so important, there needs to be a conversation about what's happening. So for instance, if somebody contacts me, I will make an appointment to have a 20 to 30 minute conversation with them, and we'll see where they're at. And part of that will be about their drinking. You know, if they're still drinking, I need to check, are they a daily dependent drinker? You know, are they reducing? Do they want to take a break? Medication? You know, so many different things I need to check before I make a recommendation. And it may not be that it's suitable for me. I might be saying to them, actually, you probably need to go and see your doctor and get some medication, or actually we need to put a reduction plan in place, or yes, you can just stop. So it's not clear cut, and that's why I always say, particularly with alcohol, if you go and see somebody about your alcohol use, make sure that they've got a background. Now, the great thing about the internet is you can search somebody's name. So you can search my name and you can see my LinkedIn profile, you can read my blogs and my website, you can see my Facebook page, so you can see what I'm about, and it's very clear there, and you can see the organisations I've worked for and my connections and stuff like that. So if you want to work with someone, search them, find out about them, particularly with alcohol. Now, if you've stopped drinking and it's more life stuff, that's slightly different. So you need to think about what sort of coach, counsellor or therapist you want to work with, depending on what your issue is, and then finding someone that works for you. But if you're still drinking, you really need someone that has experience of working with alcohol, maybe addiction, but has a lot of experience about that, and they're offering you a free consultation. Okay, it's really important so you get the right advice. I'm seeing some quite dodgy advice out there at the moment, ladies, so I really want you to look after yourself. Then of course what we've got happening is people like me, which is great. So there's me and Club Soda, and we have online forums and we have online coaching programs. So there are 24-hour online, loads of free resources. You know, I know Club Soda have quite a lot of free resources. I do as well. You know, and then the online coaching program if you want a bit more support, so that's sort of affordable. So it's quite exciting at the moment because we have different things, but I also wanted you to be aware of the more traditional options that they are out there, and also there are free options, and there might be free options in their area. It may not be exactly what you want it to be, but you know, if you're really desperate and you've tried things and it hasn't worked, you know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say throw everything at it, you know. So go to a 12-step reading, go to a smart reading, see if you've got a free treatment service, go and meet them, maybe have a chat with your doctor, see what other services are available, you know, do an online coaching program, check out the forums, read some books, and then see where you're at and see what happens, see what works for you, see what doesn't work for you, okay? So lots and lots of options. I'm always happy to answer questions about that and give advice and make recommendations. And I'm sure there are many others. And the reason why I haven't mentioned the others is because I don't know about them. And so I don't want to talk about something I don't know about, but also I don't want to make recommendations for things that I'm, you know, I haven't spoken to people, I'm not clear about their ethos or whether they've done the right training and that type of stuff. You know, I've met with Club Soda recently and we're on the same page, so that's great. So that's why we're doing a little bit of sort of collaboration. But that doesn't mean the others aren't great. It just means I haven't had the time, or I haven't had a conversation, or, you know, I don't really know what they're about. So I'm just talking about the more traditional, some free options, and the ones I do know about. What I would really like to know is, in your country, so not necessarily in the UK, although I don't mind, is, you know, what is available to you. It'd be really, really interesting to hear what's available in different countries. So yes, let me know, ladies, and I will see you soon. Thank you, bye.